Having said that, though, do you expect to be recalled when you serve 1 year of your term?
I don't know. I mean, for me, you know, you look at polls and things like that. Somebody asked me if I was worried about polls. I said if I governed based on polls, I never would have ran for county executive. Because there's not a pollster alive that would tell you I'd be county executive in Milwaukee County.
But you would expect an effort to be waged.
Oh, effort-wise, sure, sure. I mean, I think you see the same groups that are going to spend 20 to 25 million on these recalls will want to be involved with that. Whether or not they're successful in getting signatures, I think remains to be seen. I think every day, a good example, my kids go to school in Wauwatosa. About a week and a half ago, you guys had it in Wauwatosa Now online, the story about the superintendent there, who said property taxes are going down. The savings they got from the reforms ultimately allowed them to restore positions that were going to be laid out and to protect the quality of education they have. Week out, or a couple days after, I'm coming back from D.C. In fact, the day I saw you out there, Craig, coming back, Superintendent Madison, of all places, said almost exactly the same thing. I think every day there's another one of these stories where people say, you know what? Not only are taxes going to be held down at property tax level, but the reforms in place allow us to protect our schools, to protect the quality of our education, to avoid massive layoffs. I think people start to look at that and go, you know, okay, this makes not only taxpayers, but I've heard increasingly from public employees who've said, you know, this makes a whole lot more sense to me. I heard repeatedly along the way as I've traveled around, early on, people who were in tears telling me they thought they were going to be paying 12 to 13% of their salary for health insurance. When I said, well, that's not true. It's 12 to 13% of your premium. Well, that's a night and day difference. That is a huge gap. Well, they'd say that's not what they were told. That's not what they'd hear at work. That's not what they'd hear from their union and others. So I think the more time goes on, the more people realize, again, they don't have to agree with it. They don't even have to like it.
But you would acknowledge there's still a fair amount of anger out there among certain groups.
I think so.
State.
Although I think, you know, you go from 100,000, we had, what, maybe 500 yesterday at the bill signing. There's still an adamant, hardcore group, but it's much different than it was back in March.